Stories of Survival. The Attack on Pearl Harbor, 1941. Chapters 6 to 7. The Remake. Chapter 6.
A while later, the ocean spit me back up again. I choked and spit up the ocean water. It stung my cut ear from that crab yesterday. Horrors were imprinted all around me. All of the battleships we rode through were destroyed and engulfed in flames. Soldiers and sailors that were aboard were screaming as fire consumed them. Most of them fell in the water. I saw a group of sailors holding tight onto a rope inching toward another ship that was minimally destroyed. Some of them fell, screaming as they plunged into the flaming ocean. As I watched the destruction and pure agony before my eyes, I heard a Bronx-accented man call my name.
Abby. Ab.
I looked around to see a bald man in a brown jacket sifting through the fire and smoke and wading towards me. It was Grandpa. As he got to me, we both hugged each other. But as we had our harmony, we realized we had forgotten the others. Wait, where's Grandma? And Mom and Dad, and my brothers? I asked, tearing up.
I don't know.
Grandpa responded, coughing by the smoke. I also didn't know either. I did not know if they had drowned or just escaped without us, but we didn't stick around to find out. We had to get out of the water. Emmy and Grandpa waded through the water, avoiding debris and flaming material. As we got onto the platform of the harbor, it was complete destruction. Hangars and buildings were wrecked and engulfed in fire and smoke. Some of the planes were destroyed. An alarm was sounding, and blooded bodies and flaming and twisted metal were scattered all over the ground. Is this the most heavily armed naval base I know now? As we watched in horror, we heard a man shout out,
"Look out! Run!"
We looked back to see a group of white and black fighter planes with blood-red balls on their wings and sides zooming towards us with their guns roaring. A crowd of soldiers, sailors, engineers, and other workers were running for their lives. There was no time to watch and be frozen by fear. We joined the crowd of men speeding for our lives. The pattering bullets sent dust and smoke flying into our eyes. Horrors were seen as we ran. A soldier got drilled with bullets. A furious engineer was firing a machine gun at the warplanes. A spray of bullets ripped apart a military truck, causing it to combust into flames. One of the planes exploded. Men shouted all around us. We had to get off this harbor. It was total chaos, but there was no way off. All of the ships and Navy boats were probably destroyed by these warplanes. We cut through the line of panicked workers and soldiers. After that, we saw a group of firemen standing in front of a flaming hangar.
Drop the hose and get the ladders and axes!
Shouted the taller fireman of the group. A siren was heard, then a small jeep screeched before them. In it was an old man in a tattered pilot-like uniform. He started shouting at the men.
What the hell are you waiting for? Water, sir, we got no water!
Said the tall fireman.
Why not? What's wrong?
Asked the old man in the jeep.
The Arizona, sir, when she went down, she cut the pipes in the main.
Replied the fireman.
Oh my God, the tank in the ocean's over there and it's full of aviation fuel.
The old man said to the tall fireman.
That thing goes, Captain, will blow up half the harbor.
The fireman said back. The water tanks must have been destroyed during this attack, but, seriously, oh my God. Why can't the fireman just fill up the water tank on the truck using the ocean water just by the harbor instead of just standing looking stupid? Emmy and Grandpa advanced deeper into the destruction of the harbor. The attacking planes still were wreaking havoc on the harbor, sending their deadly bullets ripping across it and blowing stuff up. marked U.S. seaplane blew up behind us. In front of it, a furious man was on a machine gun firing ruthlessly at the attacking planes. He managed to disable one of the planes. Smoke bled from it. The plane then started to pitch up. The sound of its dying engine rung in my ears. But as that happened, it then looped back towards us. Right in our direction, but it wasn't actually me and Grandpa. It was a hangar right beside me and Grandpa. We could not stand here and watch.
Hey, look out!
A soldier screamed.
Hey, you guys, get out of here!
Men frantically bolted away from the hangar the smoking plane was about to crash into. We joined them. We ran and then Grandpa grabbed me up and we dove behind a large piece of debris. The smoking plane crashed into the hangar with a sickening explosion. Debris, flames, and metal rained all around us. We desperately needed to get the mother-loving heck of this harbor.
Hey, you two.
We heard a man shout. We looked to our left to see a tough-looking soldier in a pilot-like uniform sauntering toward us through the smoke. He had an M1911 pistol in hands.
You two aren't supposed to be here.
The pilot-like soldier growled.
This place is for authorized personnel only.
We're so sorry, sir.
Grandpa apologized.
Well, we were just boat riding through the harbor, just taking a little tour, and our boat got destroyed. This harbor was our only hope.
The man's anger seemed to melt away.
Oh, sorry, sir.
He said to Grandpa.
Very sorry to hear that. But still, you guys can't stay here.
Almost without thinking, Grandpa introduced ourselves.
My name's Derek Cruiser, and this is my granddaughter, Abby.
My name is Captain Elmore, John Elmore.
The soldier, Captain Elmore, introduced his name.
Anyways,
Grandpa said.
I want to know what the hell is going on here.
The Imperial Japanese Air Force is attacking our harbor, attacking our military bases and airfields all over Hawaii.
Captain Elmore explained.
As of now, we don't know why.
Japan, what had America done to Japan? I had to go with what Captain Elmore just said. There was no clear reason on why these Japanese warplanes were wreaking havoc on this harbor. Captain Elmore and the rest of the military could have told that these planes were from Japan because each of them had red balls painted on their wings and sides. That was the red ball on Japan's flag. They were military bases and airfields all over Hawaii, for example, Hickam Field and Ford Island. I guessed that was the base me and Grandpa were currently on, because Ford Island is next to the battleship section, what me, him, and my family rode through earlier before the attack. And there was pretty much more: the Pearl Harbor Naval Shipyard, Wheeler Army Field, and Halaiwa Field. I prayed they were untouched. Those military bases were heavily armed. I stepped up to ask if the listed bases are hit by the warplanes.
I'm afraid to tell you this, but yes, some of our other bases are hit.
Captain Elmore said with a sad look.
We lost a lot of planes and hangars, soldiers and workers too.
My heart sank.
Except for Halaiwa Field, medical facilities are spared from hits too.
Captain Elmore said, looking on the bright side.
Air pilots are trying to get planes into the sky.
I breathed a sigh of relief. Then came a ferocious roar. Another wave of Japanese warplanes were zooming towards us. Me and Grandpa sprang up and ran away. Bullets and explosions ripped behind us. Soldiers, crew members, and other workers fired their guns at the planes. But this was practically useless. Firing at the planes was just going to anger them. A group of soldiers got mowed down by Japanese machine gun fire. Oh, my God, I whimpered aloud. Well, why are the Japanese doing this? Then after I said that, another airplane hangar exploded into flames. What kind of sick monster is the mastermind of this attack? Why did he or she want to destroy my favorite harbor and my favorite planes? We saw Captain Elmore firing his pistol uselessly at the Japanese planes above.
How do we get out of here?
Grandpa yelled at Captain Elmore. Captain Elmore looked around, then he said,
Follow me.
We followed behind him, sifting through the destruction and chaos. As we advanced, a whistling sound pierced through the air.
Then,
We three looked to our left to see that a bomb had landed next to a row of fuel tank. Soldiers and workers frantically scattered away from it, shouting.
Get away.
Captain Elmore screamed. We three ran away from the fuel tanks. The bomb exploded, igniting the fuel tanks into a huge fireball. Flames chased after us. The huge fireball consumed unlucky men that were near the fuel tanks. They came out screaming and crying in panic and agony as the flames swallowed them. Tears burned in my eyes by the sight of the horror.
Will you please get us out of here?
Grandpa yelled, in a mixture of fear and probably irritation too. We definitely needed to get the hell of this harbor. The Japanese's bombing attack was getting more furious.
Keep going. Follow me.
Captain Elmore yelled back. We stayed behind him. I will never forget the sight of those wrecked planes, the shattered and burning hangars, the fires, the blood, the screaming of innocent men, and the flaming and destroyed battleships. Emmy, Grandpa, and Captain Elmore sifted through some bushes until we reached the edge of the Ford Island harbor. There, we saw a small boardwalk. There was a small boat tied to it.
There. Get to that boat?
Captain Elmore said. Me and Grandpa rushed to the boat. As we got in, Captain Elmore untied the rope from one of the boardwalk's wooden beams. Captain Elmore, well, what about you? I asked him.
Sorry, Abby. I can't leave this harbor.
Captain Elmore replied. A tear ran down my eye. Before Captain Elmore pushed us out to sea, he left us with one last thing.
Hide in your bunkers, or basements, if you have one just in case they start targeting your houses too.
And with that, he forcefully pushed us out to the ocean toward the city. Grandpa grabbed the paddles and rowed the boat. But this didn't mean the Japanese were going to take it easy on us this time. One of the planes had popped through the curtain of smoke surrounding the harbor and was zooming towards us. The plane fired its machine guns at us. I couldn't push Grandpa to go faster. This was just a small wooden fishing boat, not an advanced 1930s speedboat. It was hopeless. Me and Grandpa both accepted our fate. We braced for the skin-shredding bullets, but then... I looked behind to see the Japanese plane in flames and covered in bullets' holes. It soared over us and smacked into the water right in front of us. It created an enormous water explosion that rained down on me and Grandpa. But the boat we were in managed to stay upright. Then, a beastly sound was heard above us. We both looked in the sky to see a P-40 Warhawk fighter plane roaring through the air. That must have saved us from that Japanese plane that tried to kill us. Me and Grandpa had finally made it to the city. As we landed ashore, we hurried up to our panicked neighborhood. Cars sped through the street. People scattered through the street screaming and shouting. One random dude with a camera was recording the Japanese warplanes soaring above and the ensuing chaos. U.S. Army personnel were also rushing into action, firing their guns at the Japanese planes. One soldier on a military jeep was firing a heavy machine gun at them with an enraged expression.